and I might come back to some of these topics because I feel like we didn't give a couple of these topics justice, but I want to keep it moving with the school choice stuff. Because, recently the Supreme Court decision with the Roe versus Wade thing made all the news and all the uproar and stuff. But just before that, they did the decision about public funds and religious education. And they got a couple more big cases up on their plate too that they're about to do. They're finna throw a bunch of decisions out. But this one specifically about the public funds for religious schools, and it brings up the question of church and state, and it also shows all this whole agenda because the Roe versus Wade thing is kind of goes with this. You know what I'm saying? In a way, because it's the same. It's the same thing that they've been fighting for the longest. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's happening. It's happening. All these kids, the public schools are losing funding, right? And so they're turning into shit. And the parents are more and more wanting to find other places for their kids. So their best options in a lot of cases are these religious schools, which on the surface sounds fine. But the curriculums in these schools tend to be skewed. And a lot of these kids are growing up and not learning stuff that they need to know.
Like how to have sex?
They don't need nobody to teach them how to have sex. That's a natural thing that just happens. Let me play some of this right here.
The U.S. Supreme Court handed another victory today to religious rights advocates. As John Yang reports, it had to do with an unusual education funding program in a small New England state.
Judy, the case involves Olivia Carson of Glenburn, Maine, a town so small that, like half the state's school districts, it doesn't have a high school. Under Maine law, those students may get taxpayer money to help pay tuition at private schools as long as they're non-sectarian. Because of that restriction, the state would not pay for Olivia to go to Bangor Christian School, which her parents had chosen for her. Today, a 6-3 majority of the court said that violates the First Amendment's guarantee of free exercise of religion. Marcia Coyle is the chief Washington correspondent for the National Law Journal. Marcia, this 6-3 division fell along the usual liberal conservative lines. The 6 conservative justices in the majority, 3 liberal justices dissenting. Chief Justice Roberts wrote for the majority. He said in part of his opinion, a state need not subsidize private education, we concluded. He was referring to a previous case. But once a state decides to do so, it cannot disqualify some private schools solely because they are religious. And then he turns to the main case. The state pays tuition for certain students at private schools so long as the schools are not religious. That is discrimination against religion. Marcia, can you unpack the majority's reasoning here?
Well, John, this case was sort of a step beyond 2 recent cases involving the Free Exercise Clause and the Supreme Court. In the most recent case involving schools, it was a scholarship program that religious parents and schools were excluded from. And the court there reiterated that you can't discriminate if a state is subsidizing private schools. You can't discriminate solely on the basis of religious status. The court left open, well, what about if the money is used for religious purposes by a school, not just because it's a religious school? And there the court seemed today to say there really is no distinction. If a state is subsidizing private schools, it has to also subsidize private religious schools. And this is based on, his reasoning was based on the Free Exercise Clause. Just as a reminder, John, remember the First Amendment says 2 things about religion. It says Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of a religion or prohibiting the free exercise of religion. And those 2 clauses, as the court has often said, are sometimes in tension with each other. And that was the case in this Maine school case. You had parents who want to have their students attend religious schools saying you're violating our free exercise rights. At the same time, you have Maine saying, but if we subsidize you and private religious schools, we may be violating the Establishment Clause.
And in dissent, Justice Breyer wrote the main dissent for the three liberal justices. Justice Sotomayor also wrote a dissent for herself. She said, "Today the court leads us to a place where separation of church and state becomes a constitutional violation. If a state cannot offer subsidies to its citizens without being required to fund religious exercise, any state that values its historic anti-establishment interests more than this court does will have to curtail the support it offers to its citizens." Help us understand the dissenter's argument, too.
I think she's saying now that basically the majority has elevated the free exercise clause above the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment. And as she said at the opening of her dissent, destroying that old doctrine known as the wall of separation between church and state. And Justice Breyer also was very concerned about this sort of elevation of the free exercise clause over the Establishment Clause. He said the court has always said there's been play in the joints between the two that allow states to deal with specific problems without violating the free exercise clause or the Establishment Clause. And he thought that Maine was doing exactly that in order to deal with the problem of a lack of public high schools in rural areas. So this is the continuation, John, of a trend in the Supreme Court. This conservative majority truly does favor the free exercise clause. So the court is really expanding, I think, the role of religion in public life. And I'm not quite sure how much farther it's going to go.
Marcia Coyle, Chief Washington Correspondent for the National Law Journal. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
So what y'all think about that?
Well, I don't think it, based on everything I'm hearing, just because the government doesn't necessarily, they can't play a part in church and state or whatever, but because the person chooses a certain school, like you should be able to decide what school you want to send your kids to, and you're paying taxes, so you might as well, be able to divert those funds to whatever school you want. Like, I mean, look, especially with the way things been going, with the way they handle public schools. I mean, because really, if they were gonna get that worked out and fix whatever's going on in public schools, we wouldn't be in this situation. But I mean, of course, that's Maine. Like, they don't even have a high school where they at, so it's a different situation. So,
but this was a part of the plan. They planned on this. They've been doing it for the longest, taking funding away from this public schools here and there, chipping away. You don't have enough teachers in there. How the hell are they gonna teach the damn kids? You got a school packed full of kids with very few teachers, underpaid, overworked, buying pencils and lunches, dealing with shit they shouldn't have to deal with, getting their arm broke and shit. Like, it's retarded.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, that's a part of this whole failed system that we've been talking about, and like I said, some of it we just got allow to just fall, But we, I think that we should. We got to figure out something to where we can get involved, where we can make a difference in the schools. I really believe that's the biggest problem, is there's not enough parents. And I understand the fact that, like, I work, but there needs to be more parents within the school to make sure that there's certain things are in those school board meetings. If nothing less, in those meetings, to be able to fight for things that we actually believe in, or fight against the things we don't,
Yeah, so there goes the problem, because the parents aren't involved, and they're just like, just go to school. Like, they treat school like it's their babysitter. You know what I'm saying? And they don't even care what's going on there. long as I don't have to deal with them, I ain't got to feed them for lunchtime. I can go do whatever I want to do during the day while y'all babysit my kid. That's y'all job now.
I can hit happy hour while
Go to
you know,
brunch.
yeah. Just use this same school and add some of the things that you're putting in these new schools, because like, it does give I can see how it can give a different morale to children to, to be more excited and more motivated to do things in a newer building. And, you got supplies, you got this, you got that, whatever kind of programs that's going on there. So like, how is it not easier to go ahead and fund, like, the money that you were putting into this new school to just replicate that with the schools that exist already? I don't.
Exactly. And build more schools, because in all of the jurisdictions, the schools are overpopulated. So what the hell? Why come they can't build up more schools? And then be talking about they don't have the funding. Well, the funding is going into these brand new shiny religious schools.
Yeah, and see, and then the thing, because they mentioned parochial and charter, like, like, in order for it to really benefit us, we would really have to go and start new, charter schools with the curriculum that we want to have. Because I mean, that's one of the crazy things too, is once the political side of what you can do in some of these different schools is it'll be mind blowing. Like, it's insane. Like, I don't know. Like, what was it? It was a school that one of my ex was looking at for her grandkids, and it was a focus on some kind of political ideology from China. So it's like, okay, like, this really what you want your kids to learn? This, what I'm saying? What I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I wouldn't, because my son at the time, because we was doing homeschooling and all that kind of stuff, and I was like, nah, I don't want my son involved in all of that. Like, this is, they might learn how to speak Chinese, but what else are they learning?
Yeah.
But
Let me
so
play
I don't
some
know.
more.
You got to be careful with that type of stuff too.
Still stuck on the teeth. So it's like she's just born with perfect teeth. So I'm so much better than everybody else. I never had a root canal. Hey, we y'all get root canals?
Who get root canals?
I was born with a head full of perfect teeth that's still perfect now, and I'm like 80.
Oh shit.
You scumbags going to get root canals? Okay, comments.
It's all bullshit. I call bullshit. I call bullshit. Bullshit, bro.
Let me read some comments underneath.
They
It
don't give
says,
a fuck.
nah, they don't. She don't. She's one of them. Let me read this. It says, the lady interviewing does such an incredible job. Journalists should learn from her. Another one, it says, she smiles so hard when the topic of misfortune comes up. Yeah, I noticed that too. It said, another one, it says, because an heiress of billionaire who's never attended a public school, hunted, or even shopped for her own groceries has a clue. I think these people are very detached. I really do. I think they are oblivious to a lot of things because they live in a whole different world. Like, they couldn't even imagine what my life is like. Like, they couldn't imagine it at all. In a million years, they couldn't imagine how I live at all. But they want to tell me how I should live or what I should do or what I can't do because they know better than me on how I should live my life. Let me read some more. It says, also, I cannot believe what she did for sexual assault victims. As a victim myself, I was not believed, and it makes me sick to my stomach seeing her. Another one, it says, I've made more progress on my toilet in 5 minutes than she has during her whole appointment. Whatever, bro. You're not aware. That's the reason why I'm covering this. Is because all that stuff she was talking, that's what is happening. That's what I mean about the Democrats not getting shit done. And these people are still getting their stuff done. They're not even in office no more.
Yeah.
Let me read some more. It says part of her agenda is actually very agreeable. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. Muddled by the administration, being uninfluenced by school boards, unions, charter schools, or public schools too. An education structure is more viable and coherent. However, defunding public school isn't most palpable. She does have some great points, though. Her method wasn't good. Yeah, but they don't. That's the thing. All the time, they always be like, "We didn't intend on it. It was unintended consequences." No, these people are smart as hell. They knew what was gonna happen. They have the data. They simulate all this shit before time. They know
Well,
what
look,
the results are gonna be.
well, see, the thing is, the overall agenda is, like for them to like, cause like this thing harms the poor. I mean, that goes right along with what the Democrats want too. It's just that, you know, the Republicans are more out in the open about what they're doing, and the Democrats will lie to you and say, "No, we're not going to do that," but they still somehow it gets voted when they're the majority. Like it's still somehow the it still goes in a direction that they said that they wouldn't allow it. So it's like they all want the same thing. They're all working in that same direction, but one of them are not afraid to say it. The others are.
Yep, and they're more bullish. So of course they're gonna get what they're trying to get done. The Democrats are so passive. Let me read some
They're,
more.
I don't think they're really that passive. I think that that's just, they're not going to fight against it because it goes along with what they want. Like they all really want the same things. It's
Right.
just that one has played their political game so much to saying that, oh, they're against this, they're against that. Like they don't care. Like that's not like the people at the top. They don't care about no damn Roe versus Wade and whether you get a chance to have an abortion or not.
Well, yes,
Like
they do. I disagree because that's what's happening. It's the
they
evangelicals,
can use
the
no.
Catholics.
That's another tool. That's another tool for them to be able to use politically. They don't care whether you can get an abortion or not.
Oh, you talking about the politicians themselves? Well, Betsy
Yes.
DeVos is not really a politician. She's not.
Well, she is because she's playing that like if she's in a position to make the like to present something like she's in politics regardless. Maybe she's not a lifelong politician like
Yeah,
that
but she's
because
in there trying to get an agenda done. She's not like if you could call her a politician because she's in political office or was, but she's in there getting an agenda done.
well
Like she was dealing with education her whole career. She became the Secretary of Education.
well
That's not
but but
politician.
But when you're when because she just decided to jump in and try to do some stuff herself because nobody else was doing it. But she's probably been a like putting her money where her mouth is being political. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
but
Like
but that's all just to push the agendas that she wants to get done. Her personal, family, fucking
I
agendas.
yeah, but really that it can't be. Because if she's a billionaire, she ain't got to worry about nobody getting funded. She could have went and sent her kids or grandkids to any school she
Right.
wanted.
That's why she don't give a fuck about it. She makes
But
money off of it,
so
and she has a personal,
uh, uh,
mission
a personal mission to fuck up our livelihoods, our
to
children, like like
to
to
defund the public schools and to send the money into charter schools because she feels that these people. It's like Amy Coney Barrett. Like they're cultish. You know what I'm saying? And their family, her father, whoever it was, they've been all on the same agenda of like, you know what I'm saying? We feel like Christian values, Catholic values are what it is, and we want it to live in a nation full of people who are just Catholic or just follow Catholic views and whatever da 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 da. That's how we
well,
feel.
yeah, well, I mean, we got to think. All right, I hear you on that because I guess some of this stuff is triggering me on even like because this abortion thing has been so much going on with that. But like we don't even look at it from the point of view that was the beginning of eugenics, the thing that was meant for to kill us off. But that's something that we're going to fight for. Like, yeah, give us a chance to not produce enough people so that we can continue to lose our numbers throughout. Like, I don't know, bro. Like, it's
But that's not the point. The point is this religious agenda that like this specific person has, and
so.
she has the weight of all this money and influence to push it and to throw it
But
around and to
but
have.
what does it matter if it's religious or not?
Well, it matters because these people have dogmas. These people are, you know, these are people you can't reason with. These are people that money doesn't mean nothing. You know what I'm saying? Even like these people, like they do care about power, but they want to have influence. They want things to go a certain way. It's what is it? Not
So does Democrats. A lot of them want things to go a certain way. I mean, a bunch of them, you know, it's especially in off the ones that's in office. A bunch of them already got money. Like they don't even like they're there to be able to control. You know what happens with you and me. Like,
she's not like them, bruh. Like her money, they don't have money like she has money. Them people still trying to get money. Them the ones
who?
she pays them.
Who you
The
talking about?
politicians, the normal politicians.
What's a normal politician? I don't get it. Because I mean,
She is not that. That's what
so
I'm
you,
saying.
so
She
so
is so not that.
she who you talking about divorce?
Betsy Devos,
She is not what?
a
She's not as paid,
politician. She's not a
bro.
politician. She's not a normal politician.
But that's because that's based on your perspective of what a politician is. Because that's just like saying that Trump wasn't a politician, but the motherfucker been lobbying and putting money in both Republicans and Democrats' hands for 40 years. I mean, that's not being political.
Well, what about the people who vote then? Are the people who vote politicians by that metric? I
Well, I
voted
mean,
every time in every election for the
but they're not.
past 25 years.
Yeah, but that's one of the weakest ways to put to move your agenda or anything that you want. Like
That's my
just
whole
put
point. She has billions of dollars. That's what she uses to get what she wants to get
but
done.
so we're saying the same thing.
Okay, let me read some more comments. It says this is exactly why the rich could care less to help the less fortunate. The majority is so numb and unaware of how restricting government regulations can really be. Go ahead, people, tear them all down so they can go back to their castle while you remain in your cage.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um,
I wish more people would see that because I think for the most part, most of us have voted against our own agendas forever.
this one says, so she's fighting for parents to choose schools that they want. Why not fight for the kids instead? Another comment, it says, I have not intentionally visited schools who have underperformed. Maybe you should.
Yeah.
Another comment, it says, I had two teachers snap in class a few years back. One took her degree off the wall and threw them across the room, and she started screaming at all of us. My second hour class was pretty bad, to be honest. For the love of God, do not give teachers handguns. That's just asking for either a kid to steal it or a teacher to use it in a way against her students.
Huh. That's a mouthful right there.
At least one good thing came out of the Capitol Hill fiasco. I don't think there will ever be anyone who misses her. Another one says, can't even watch this all the way through. As a teacher, she makes me sick. Glad she's leaving the position. Did nothing in her job for students. Another one says, school choice, much the same as a person can make their own choices on healthcare without being a doctor or a surgeon, or fix their house without these pesky contractors, plumbers, carpenters, electricians, and architects. It takes a village, Cruella. Always have, always will. This is a good point right here because you have to let the professionals do their job. We're not all trained in education. You know what I'm saying? Just because we think we can teach our kids or whatever, we can homeschool them or whatever, doesn't mean that we really can efficiently.
Well, I guess one of the problems is that I think some people think the more money they get, the smarter they are. They know what's best for everybody else. Look, just go on and live your fucking life, and like if because like I said, especially for Devos, she ain't never had an issue with money. So why is she worrying about how the government is spending money towards
That's
schools
how you know she's disingenuous. She don't give a fuck. She has an agenda, and her agenda is not what she's saying it is. That's why she turns into a robot when they ask her straight up questions.
Yeah.
Well, she
Well, I
don't want
mean,
to. She wants to say what it really is, but because
no,
that's
no,
the kind of
yeah, I mean,
person she is.
yeah,
But
she rather not have to go through the whole political process and being politically correct because I think she is more of a straightforward and tell you
you
exactly
could
what it
see
is
it on her face.
type of.
It hurt her
But
to say those robotic
but
words. It
but
hurt her.
see but that's see that really this is just another way of gentrification of the education system, like getting all of being able to push these whatever because they really wanted to take over the cities again. That's really what they want because like they had to run from the cities during a period of time because we were coming in and getting jobs. They wanted us to come, like y'all remember the time period, from the 60s and 70s and all this kind of stuff after civil rights. Like you move into the neighborhood, they'll shoot. Very few white people stayed, but most of the white people moved out, and the black people and immigrants or whatever start kind of moving into the neighborhoods they had, and they moved more out of the city. They want the cities back, so that's pretty much for them to. Before they can get the cities back, they got to drive the people out of the city again. Kind of,
I ain't gonna
drive them
lie.
out.
I ain't gonna lie. I think you got a bit of a point there. I really do, because they got this thing going where they drove everybody into the suburbs. They don't like the suburbs no more, especially you got gas prices and shit. They got their jobs are in the city. They want to live in the city. Let me
Yeah,
read some more comments. It says the school system situation is actually much bigger than just Betsy DeVos. The states are in charge of their own schooling and they vote for how they want it to be. Poverty is one factor in the equation which should be addressed, and the school improvement will follow. All in all, there are too many cooks states in the kitchen. Man, I wish I hadn't read that comment. Let me read some more. It says when she says school choice, she's just saying money, money, money. She did not care about
well,
students or our children. She was just here to fill her and her family's pockets.
see, the thing about it is because this is a psychological operation to where it's a psyop because like what parent doesn't want their kids to get the best education, and then when the best education is offered over here instead of right down the street from their home, which could be offered right there, like with less work and everything, like they can just start implementing different things, pay teachers properly, get the right resources and computers or whatever is needed in that school right there in these kids' neighborhood. But like that's the whole like I said, they're trying to divert you from seeing this area as being beneficial for you to stay in. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Man, these motherfuckers blocked my video again. I think it was the BBC video
Oh,
or the
so
six
we
or
not
the.
lying.
I think we're somewhere, but not on YouTube.
Oh.
That fucking sucks, man. Anyways, I'm gonna keep it moving because I'm gonna just chop these hoes up. And damn, I won't be able to upload on here. They gave me a strike, so whatever. Fuck these fucking people, man. I'm so over it. They've been on my ass. I'm fucking doing a good thing here. I really do think that. I'm gonna play some more Betsy DeVos because
Yeah.
mad interesting to me. I was about to go to sleep and this just woke me up. Shit. Betsy Devos already got me in trouble. The main country first. So I'm